Here are 3 more snakes. This one is quite a solid like thing, but it expands in a surprising way. You can expand into a curve, but it springs back to its solid position. Well, that expands about 70%. It's made up of the simplest subunit, which is basically a couple of hexagons, 12 and then 18, placed in a lined up fashion like that and folded. Now, there are 2 ways to fold them, obviously. The clockwise part, whatever way clockwise is, that could go inwards, and then the outside is anti-clockwise. Or you could fold it the other way and the outside would be well, inside, and it would be opposite. Okay, and then you just add these. Now, those ones inside, just check them out. The inside ones are lined up. That's the crucial part, because they're the ones that separate, because that join is not as strong. And then you put 2 more on. Oh, one isn't quite enough, you know. And that's the subunit. It's as simple as that. You just stack them together and that happens. It's very surprising. The important part is that this is lined up exactly as shown there. Put that on to demonstrate. Take the handle off. Well, assuming I've got the polarity around the right way, which I did, that was lucky. I could have made that the wrong way around and I would have just had to swap those 2 hexagons face to face the other way. And that works. Oh, hang on, I haven't put it around. I've got to do that slightly differently. Okay, there is one more thing about it, and that is that you might put it in one ball to the wrong side. They've got to be. Hang on, let me get it off. If it doesn't open up, it's because watch the squares that open here, they're opposite, alright? So they alternate. Every second one goes in the other spot. Well, I didn't put mine in the right spot, that's all. So it didn't happen properly. So the squares are about on the corner. So like that. So hopefully that'll be right now, yeah. There's like one configuration that doesn't open properly. Alright, there you go. So all I did when that didn't open properly was rotate it by 1 ball. And now we're good. That's one of them. This is a smaller one. It's basically similar, but it doesn't collapse like that just because of the geometry of the balls. 6 in a ring, and it stretches out like that. What's interesting about this, I'm going to put the camera directly down, is not only does the square expand, it's got like a next phase of expansion where the straight part expands. That happens with the, this is a 6 ring, oh hang on, I've twisted it too far there. That happens with the 6 ring, and that happens with the 8 ring version. And these get about, I think it's around about 40% extension. and they spring right back. This one is much more stable than the 3-ring one. And I'm not going to show the subunit for this. It's analogous. One starts with 8 in a ring, one starts with 6 in a ring, but you basically do the same things. That's the final subunit. And it looks tricky, but it's really not very tricky at all. What you do is you take 8 rings. 1, 2, 3. And now 2 more 8 rings, but this time they're stacked the opposite way. So note the different stacking. Now this is one where you can either have it like that, or you can turn it around and face it the other way, and every second one is the opposite. Alright, now there's a number of different ways to do this that all work. Maybe I'll start on here. If you start on this, you don't get it. You put the tags in every second one. Right, like that. Now I'm also going to put a tag in this one, this one, this one, and this one. But if you put them in right now, they'll just click into those. So I won't put them in right now. I'm going to assemble it onto this first. So it didn't go into this side because it's got to fold that way. Alright. So that's the wrong side where it goes like that. So you go to the other side, and it goes in between two. And then you put it in every second gap. Like that. And now, in the same position this time, so this ball is opposite this ball. This ball here will be opposite this one there. Right. And that's our subunit. We'll stack them together. Okay, so now we've got 2 of these 8-ring units made up. We've got 2 of these 8-ring units made up with the 2 parts put together. Now in the next minute or so I'm going to be referring to this boat shaped section. Right, there's 4 of them around the outside, so in between the 2 tags there's those 4, and we're going to separate them, but I'm not going to separate them until after I put it together. So I'm going to put a little stick down in between them and push them apart like that. I don't want to do it just yet because it's a bit hard. It makes the next step a bit hard if we do that. So I'm going to put it on. In between those boat shaped bits made up of the edges of 2 boats is what I'm going to be calling a square. That's those 4 magnets that I'm making visible right now. And that's the square that stays a square and everything spreads out around it. So I'll put this on. Now there's a couple of things to be aware of when you're putting it on. One is that this is the wrong one. Okay, so I made up 2 and I've arranged for them to be opposite polarities. So I'll take the other one. Notice how that goes into the crack. This one goes not into the crack. It doesn't want to go, it wants to stay lined up. So they're opposite. Now the other thing to make sure about is that what's going to be the square, that's the square right there. Those 4. Now that square and this square can't line up. They've got to be the opposite of lined up. So we put those squares, we put the tag exactly on top of where that square is, in every second spot. Alright, so they're the squares, and this is the bit in between the 2 tags I'm going to open up. Okay, now it's opened up. I'll do it again. I'll take the other one. This is now the opposite polarity will work now because this one is the opposite polarity to that. So if this one won't fit into this one, it will fit into that one. and then the tag goes lined up with the little square that's there. The tag goes into the spot that's lined up with the square. And you can see that this square is not lined up with this square or this one, it's halfway in the middle. And these little boat shaped ones, just separate them out. So you've got it. Now I'm going to put a bit of handle on it. Sort of hold when I pull it apart. And you get that effect. Getting everything lined up right is important.
Okay, Danny.
Okay, now notice again that the squares, these ones don't alternate their position, but they should. Those ones won't open up. But if you alternate the positions, then that happens. You get that, see the middle part opening up as well? First a stretch and then pop. And it's really cool because it's completely reversible. And you don't get it if you do this. So I could have just, in this case as well, it can be corrected by taking it off carefully, rotating it one spot, and now you'll see that they open up. Very, very cool. I'm not going to bother making things out of it. It's just great. I don't think it goes in. Okay.